Greetings and salutations, friends and gamers of all stripes. My name is GM Dave. I am your man behind the screen, and welcome to, I guess, what's actually sort of becoming an annual thing now if I decide to do this again next year. Welcome to my sort of end of year, year in review sort of video. Last time I did this last year, I don't remember if I actually did it exactly on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. It might have been a few days before or after. I mean, with the way things have gone this year, with the way 2020 has been, can you really blame me for not remembering a small detail like that? But nevertheless, we're going to kind of look back at, or I'm really going to look back at my year sort of in review. Going to look at some of the good that happened. Going to look at the multitudes of bad that happened, because oh boy, there was a lot of that. We're kind of going to talk about just how 2020's bullshit impacted my life. And, we're going to sort of have not a farewell 2020 video. No. This is certainly not a farewell 2020 video. Because I don't want 2020 to farewell. No. See, this is a fuck you 2020 video. Fuck yourself. Fuck off. Go away. We're done with you. Go away. Leave. Now. And of course, this is not to say that I necessarily expect 2021 to be much better, because I do not. I very much do not. Still, let's go ahead and I guess we'll just, I don't really know how I'm going to do this. I haven't really thought this through. I'm just sort of doing it. I guess I'll start by saying my apologies for the road noise, but I realized when I had the idea to do this while I was out and about here, I'm just kind of cruising for fun. It was just that's sort of becoming an end of year tradition where I just go kind of drive out to the desert for a bit, enjoy the scenery and all that, decompress. And, it's very relaxing for me. And this is the third year in a row I've done this, so I think it's safe to say that this is sort of becoming a tradition in and of itself, at least for me. But yeah, so I realized last time I did this too, though, I was also out on the road. So I figured, what the hell, do it again. You guys don't seem to care that much about the road noise, although I'm gonna try to edit it down to make it a little more bearable. But it's also partly doing it this way because I got a new recording program for when I am out and about. I got a new program on my phone, and I actually recorded my last episode, my So You Want to Be a GM, the impromptu one I did about the need for GMs to learn to say no to their players sometimes. I recorded that using this new program, and so I'm really trying to put it through its paces. So far, it's much better than the other one that I had found that I was using previously. The sound quality just overall is better, even in places where the recording is not ideal, which was the case with that last video. I was in the warehouse that I work in, in the warehouse area of my workplace. So there were times I could tell, listening back to the audio, where it got a little bit of an echo in there because of that fact. But yeah, so I kind of want to put this through its paces, and this seemed like a good enough excuse to do that. So, 2020. 2020 is about to leave us. We made it. We survived the year, as I expected we all would. It hasn't been easy. It has not been easy for a lot of us. Some of you guys already know some of the stuff I've been dealing with this year, and I'll go over a lot of it in brief here. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I've already discussed a lot of this stuff in other videos, particularly the Palinor vlogs. And who knows, this might end up turning into something of a Palinor vlog, but not likely. In fact, what the hell? We'll put my little update I have for Palinor here up at the front. The holidays stalled it. I expected that was going to happen. Christmas, New Year's, the lead up to that, just getting things ready, figuring out very last minute plans, more so than usual. My family's, mostly my in-laws, are always very last minute with their plans. Not because of my in-laws, but because of their extended family being very flaky, I guess. I don't know if flaky is really the right word. they just, no, fleeky's not the right word. They don't really plan ahead. They have a tendency to make their decisions last minute. And so, for both Thanksgiving and for Christmas, my wife and I both basically spent the weeks leading up to it having no idea what was going to happen. I found out that we would be having dinner, that we had the option to have dinner, and took that option at my in-laws' house the day before Thanksgiving while I was out shopping, buying stuff to make for my wife and I found out that the Christmas plan was breakfast at my in-laws, lunch with my mom, and then come home 2 days before. And then Christmas Eve was just an impromptu dinner with my wife and I, using the stuff that I had bought to use at Thanksgiving. New stuff. I used most of the stuff on Thanksgiving, but some of the stuff was in the freezer. Yeah, details. Anyway, as you can tell, I can tell you what I did on the holidays. I can't really tell you much new that I did with Palinor because my focus was there. So I didn't do much for the holidays. Or, I did do stuff for the holidays, but I didn't do much for Palinor. Stupid mistake right there. Anyway, so yeah, there's the Palinor portion of it. That's done and out of the way. New updates for Palinor. Didn't get too much done. Wrote down a couple of new combat traits, and I'm still pushing forward with that. Done. I plan to work on it tomorrow and over the weekend pretty diligently. I do have a project plan that I want to work on tomorrow, and my goal is to work on it and complete it tomorrow. But we'll see if that happens. But it's one I'm excited to do. I've been thinking about certain things that I've got earlier this year that I was using for a bit, and they sort of slid to the back burner, and I'm looking at them all the time and thinking, you know what? Nah, it's time to, New Year's coming. Let's use it again. Let's start using it again. And I'm talking about my drawing tablet, basically, which also acts as my monitor. So, yeah, I'm thinking of doing another drawing tomorrow, and maybe probably record that and do a time lapse of that process, put it up just for the fun of it. So, getting back into it. Yeah, 2020. So, I don't know how many of you guys watched the video I did from the beginning of the year, where I was kind of excited about the prospect of, we're going back into the 20s, and hoping that maybe we could re-inspire that era of the folkish 20s that was around in the 1900s. Yeah, obviously that's not happening, at least not right now. Maybe later in the decade, but certainly not right now. No, this year has been anything but the powerful boom and the uplifting year for people that we were hoping it would be, off the back of 2019 being such a good turnaround for so many people. No, 2020 was a hell of a lot harder than last year. This year was a hell of a lot harder. And, yeah, but I want to talk about the good first before we go into the bad. I want to talk about that first. Let's prime it with some positive stuff. First thing regarding the good, Phoenix Rising. For me, the webcomic I work on with Hair Illustrations, my good friend, it's been going well. This was we're going to be going into, as of June, as of June of this year, that crossed the benchmark. We're going on to our third year of publishing, which is technically now as of, I don't remember exactly what month we started it. I think as of this last November, that crossed over into the maybe fifth and a half. I'm not entirely sure, but we've basically been working on it together for half a decade. Publishing for 3, we worked on it behind the scenes for 2 years before that, and for a monthly webcomic, that's still the best option we have. We were going to do every 2 weeks, but monthly ended up being the best option we had to make the episodes long enough that they felt satisfying to read. Otherwise, they were just coming out too short. for a monthly webcomic, for both of us working full-time, and for me working more than full-time, I work overtime literally every week now, and I've been doing that for the majority of the year. I've been doing it since May. Yeah, so about 2/3 of the year I've been working, 50 to 60 hours every single week. So more than full-time, technically. We've managed to keep pace really well. In fact, I am keeping better pace now than I ever have, thanks to finally pulling the trigger on knuckling down, setting up a schedule. That hasn't been perfect. I will talk a little bit more about where I failed in that schedule a bit later on when I talk about that. But that scheduling has done quite a bit of work really to help me keep focused on the projects I want to do, and it leaves me feeling a lot more fulfilled than I was just letting things slide on the back burner. Palinor, especially, as I mentioned in a previous vlog, has seen very positive results from that. But Phoenix Rising 2, there was a lot of procrastination I was doing with that I ended this last September when I started sticking really hard to that schedule. And it's been paying off. We started this year at about, I think, just shy of 100 readers. Within the first couple months, we passed 150 readers. And again, bear in mind, this is not a typical webtoon. Typically, the most successful webtoons, they post weekly. Sometimes twice a week. And because that frequent engagement is what helps get, keeps the readers reminded. Monthly, it's more difficult to keep up, but monthly is what we can manage with our work schedule, so that's what we do. But yeah, we've been doing well. We hit 150 readers after just a couple months passing into the new year, and it sort of leveled out for a bit after that until another creator at Maru, the creator of the webtoon Goal, who just recently actually had a webtoon reach out to him with the offer to make his series an original. For those who've never used webtoon, just a very quick primer on that. The site is basically separated into two modes of content. There are webtoon originals, which are the really big series that are super, super popular. Those are the ones that get a chance to become original. And those series get, if my memory serves me correctly, because I didn't look into this part too much because of the fact that, I curbed I didn't have any expectations of reaching that point anytime soon. I honestly don't expect to necessarily ever reach that point. Maybe it'll happen, but I'm not holding my breath. But I believe the site will give you financial backing. They will promote your comic. There will be promotions around the comic that will happen, like special events based around certain originals that will happen to get people to read them. And he just got the option to do this with his webtoon Goal, which is fantastic, by the way. And I know I've plugged it on the channel before, but I'm gonna post a link to the Canvas version down below. Or actually, no, I'm gonna wait on that. I'm gonna wait on that until he starts the originals, because one of the clauses with the originals that does kind of suck is he has to repost and in some areas rewrite what he's already done. He's got to start from scratch. So we basically got to wait. Those of us who have been following for a while, like I have, and there have been guys who have been following him even longer, that we're now all going to have to wait for at least a year to see anything new. Most likely, at least a year to see anything new. But that's okay, because we're all super excited for him. But yeah, so Canvas is the side of people like myself. We're just independent creators. We got the idea, and you know what? Webtoon is letting us use their platform to share that idea, to share that comic. That's the Canvas side. The original side is the side that's actually properly backed by that company, including financially and with promotion. So, at Maru had a super popular webtoon. popular enough, obviously, that it's getting promoted to, the big dogs. It's becoming an original. And I don't remember how many months ago it was now, but maybe three, maybe four. Around summertime. Again, forgive me. Like this so much of this year has bled into one giant mess that I have a lot of difficulty actually keeping track of when things happened, like exactly. But he gave a shout out at the end of one of his episodes to our comic. Reached out to me, was asking like, hey, he spoke to me asking like, hey, Hair, I know she draws a lot of promo posters for when you start like different chapters, different arcs in your comic. Can you grab me one of those? Like, which one of those is the best quality one? And I asked him, like, oh, it's the one for this area. Specifically, at the time, it was the one for when we finally started Chapter 2, the characters moving out of the jungle and into the desert city-state of New Bael. Hair just absolutely killed it with the title. Basically, the cover portion of that episode was just fantastic, and it's still my favorite one. She's drawn more. She loves drawing those promo posters. She absolutely loves it, and she's drawn more of them since then. But that one is still my favorite. And so I asked him, well, why? Why do you ask? And he told me just straight up, I want to give you guys a shout out. I was like, I like what you guys are doing. You've been really cool about, shouting me out on your YouTube channel and stuff like that. And, you've been real supportive because I've been supporting him, financially. And so he wanted to pay it forward. So I reached out to Hair. She gave me the full res version of the image. I sent it to him. And yeah, at the end of the episode, he gave us a nice little shout out. Within that next week, we almost, we doubled within a week our readership. And since then, we've almost tripled it. No, we did triple it. I checked it recently, I'm pretty sure. I think we might have tripled it. I might need to double check. But the last time I had actively checked, because I've only passively checked the past few months, I've been thinking more about working on the script and all that stuff as opposed to tracking how many readers there are. I've been keeping tabs of the ratings, how much they've been liking it, but I haven't been keeping as close tabs on the readers. But when he did this, specifically within 2 days, we jumped from 150 readers to 300. And then over the last of that week, an extra 50 trickled in. So more than doubled our readership from that shout out, which was awesome. And our rating, when that happened, went up from what it was. Because some of you guys might remember earlier in the year when I was talking about it and I would mention the rating, I would say, it's 9 stars out of 10. Well, it jumped about half a star since then. So there's more people who've been liking it enough that the rating increased with that new readership. So that was fantastic. That was absolutely amazing, and I absolutely feel like it feels incredible. Like, it's awesome to think that there's enough people. There's I'll grant these are not massive numbers. By 400 people or so, which I think is about what it's at now. It might be 450 at this point. I might have to double check, but I know it should be at least right around 400. Because the last time I checked, I think it was at 396, and that was a few months ago when I actively checked. And I know it has gone up since then, but I don't know how much. So I'll need to double check that at some point. But it's not a massive amount of people in the grand scheme of things. But for a couple of very small time independent creators like Hair and myself we don't have massive presences. Our presences are small. We're just a couple of regular working people who have this idea that we want to do, and we're doing it. And for us having this smaller presence, to see that spike in growth and to see how much people are enjoying it and have continued to enjoy it over this year, and that we've been successfully keeping up with it over this year, and it's actually been one of the things that has really been helping her and myself just kind of cope with stuff is having this project to work on, to focus on, and take our minds off of all the other bullshit that came this year. So with that in mind as well, it's been awesome seeing that growth and seeing people continue to enjoy it, and it has really made me happy. And then, of course, just what I mentioned in the previous video in my announcements is that it's reached a point too that, you know, I've got a couple other, you know, fellow webtoon creators that I support and I talk with frequently, and you know, we've all kind of been scratching each other's back, trying to help lift each other up. I've mentioned previously many times that is something I love to do. If you're an independent creator and you've got something you're making that I really do think deserves it, hell yeah, I will shout you out. Hell yeah, I will do what I can to lift you up and, you know, to help make it happen. And I guess you could say he's a friend. My friend Z, he's the creator of the webtoon Immortal Blood. I patronize him as well. I financially support him as well because I like what he's doing. And check out Immortal Blood on webtoon. I will link that one in the description of this video. You guys should definitely check that out. I'll link it down below in the description, below the Phoenix Rising link. And I'm also going to do a pinned comment on YouTube with both of those links too. So absolutely give those a read. Both of them are a lot of fun. Phoenix Rising which is obviously mine, it's more slow paced. It's more of a slow burn, you know, a little bit more intrigue, character driven, which is not to say that Z's is not, but Z's is more action oriented. If you're into you know, shonen style action, that shonen manga, manhwa style action comic, give Immortal Blood a read. Chances are you're really going to enjoy it. Z is very talented when it comes to drawing action scenes. So is Maru, actually. They are both incredibly talented when it comes to drawing action set pieces. And you know, I'm not biased either, just because I'm also going to have a character showing up in both of those at some point. Totally not biased for that reason. But no, seriously. That is going to happen at some point, which is really cool. It was a reward for my patronage. But, no, that's not, obviously that's not the reason I'm shouting them out. I'm shouting them out because I do think that their work is well worth your time investment. They are good. They are talented. It is well worth giving them a look. So, that now said, yeah, but Z, he recently was interviewed also by Andrew Henry, who I mentioned in my previous video I was interviewed by for my writing process on Phoenix Rising. To my knowledge, the live stream still has not gone up on YouTube yet. It's only available on his Facebook page, and I do not have a link to that, unfortunately. I think I could probably I might just reach out to him and grab the link to the interview for that, so you guys can take a look at it on Facebook if you want, but I would rather share it to his YouTube link, just because I don't use Facebook. I don't really support Facebook, you know, for my own personal reasons. But yeah, being able to get that interview, you know, granted with the help of a friend, but being able to get that interview, having him, you know, in the week leading up, he took a look, he read the first few chapters, he told me, yeah, you know, I'm really liking what you guys are doing. You know, I enjoy the art, the story is really well written, and a few of the other people who were guests, or not guests, in the audience on the stream have since taken a look, and it's done really well this year, which has made me very happy. You know, so that was one big point of positivity for me this year. The second thing is just, quite honestly, the fact that I have consistently been working. And I mentioned this again in a previous Palinor vlog, how, you know, yeah, there were some serious difficulties that have come with how much I have been working lately, with the amount of work I have had to do lately. That has brought a lot of difficulties with it, but I don't care. You know, I can deal with work being hard. I can deal with being stressed out at work, particularly if the alternative is having no work, no finances, being unable to support my wife, being unable to pay for my home, and risking getting evicted and losing everything. Hell yeah, I will take a very, very difficult few months of work compared to that. And so yes, even though it was difficult, and even though I am going to talk about things relating to that were bad, ultimately, I absolutely see that as a very good thing that happened this year. Let's see, other good things that happened this year. I mean, obviously, progress on Palinor. It's been rocky, but in the past, I have attempted projects similar to this, and I have attempted, not even just projects similar to Palinor, not even necessarily just games that I wanted to try making that ended up, falling apart and failing very quickly. But attempting in the past when I thought that, I want to write novels, I want to write short fiction, I want to do this, I want to do that, and these things just never sticking. They always fell apart. They never panned through. Palinor is the one that made it. Palinor is the one that is still going. Even after a solid 6 months of basically not working on it because of the fact that, because of how draining the day job was and just not feeling up to it, not having that drive to do anything apart from 1 or 2 days within that entire 6-month span. I came back here at the end of the year, and normally with a project like that, where I had fallen out in that way, I wouldn't have picked it back up again, or I would have tried, started a little bit, maybe made a tiny bit more progress, and then it would have eternally gone onto the back burner until it died. But Palinor proved the exception to that unfortunate rule, and I am going to see it through to the end. So that's absolutely another really good thing this year. Other good things this year that went on is, all I can really think of in terms of other good things this year are just very small, very personal things that I do not want to share on here. So I guess for now we're going to end that, and we're going to move into the part where we look back at 2020 and we just say, fuck off, year, we're fucking done with you. And the first portion of that, we'll start light. My gaming, my tabletop gaming. You guys all know at this point, the closing thing I say at the end of every video, in the world of tabletop gaming, you don't want to just watch, you want to get out there and game. Now, unfortunately, that's been hampered. And it's been hampered in previous years too, but this year has been very much a more bittersweet sort of thing, because we found a method to get me into the game that my friends who live up north, who don't even live near me, were playing live with each other. We actually found a good, workable method to do that. And that was the point at which I joined the game that I mentioned in the previous video, where we had the lull over the past few months. So this was back in, the start, not close to the start of the year, March, I think it was, is when I joined them, started playing with them. And originally, we set it up, we were playing on, they were playing live, and the GM got me in through Discord, over his phone, and we actually made it work out really well, connection issues notwithstanding. We ended up eventually, I think, just going to an actual phone call, because that was more stable. But the point is, it worked. I was able to play with them, live, not in person, but live. And it was great having a consistent game to play with them. So we did that for a couple weeks, and then everything started with the lockdowns. So that threw a big spanner and everything. And we all worked together to kind of figure out a solution. And then the solution was, we're all together in the Discord for their Amped Guard group. Amped Guard, for those who don't know, is a LARP group that's a little more tailored for, I would say, in my opinion, it's more tailored for the young, in the sense that they have heavier restrictions on what you can build in terms of weapons, like methods you can use in terms of fighting, where you can hit, and so on and so forth. It's a lot more restrictive in that sort of sense than the other group that functions up there, which I believe is called Bellegarde, which is much more open to being considerably more ruthless. I think is a good way to describe it. I consider that the more adult version of what they're doing. But Amped Guard has a bigger presence out where they live, so that was the group they ended up joining. Bellegarde is further north, if I remember correctly from what they told me. Anyway, they have a Discord server set up for their Amped Guard clan. And most of the people who were playing in that were from their clan. So we just figured, you know what? We'll invite a couple of other people who aren't in the group. We'll bring them in, and we'll play over Discord voice. We'll make it work, And we did for a few weeks. We made it work. There again, connection issues notwithstanding. But those aside, we made it work. We made it happen. We got on Discord. We started playing again within a couple weeks, and we were right back to weekly games. The schedule was working out fine. And then, for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, but we decided to move instead to play by post. And if I had to guess, I would say the most likely culprit is those aforementioned connection issues. Because I know my friends who specifically live in outside of the major metro that's up there. They live south in one of the smaller quote-unquote cities that's really more of a town. The internet service out there is real spotty. It tends to disconnect a lot because it's basically all satellite. You don't really have an option for cable. And yeah, cable has its issues, but satellite is very spotty. So there were times where the connections would drop, and then we'd have to wait a few minutes, and then they'd come back. But another part of it, too, was just flakiness on the part of some of the players. That's why I say I don't really know exactly why we stopped, because I think it was a mixture of issues. Some of the guys that are in that group, they got some serious, they deal with some serious, mental issues. One of them is, he is on the autistic spectrum, but honestly, he's one of the most consistent guys to show up. Like, basically, really more than anybody, he's the one who's there almost every single week saying, hey, when are we playing? When are we playing? When are we playing? He gets real excited, which is great. He helps to keep us motivated. But, we got a couple guys who deal with, like severe chronic depression and like hardcore anxiety issues, bipolar disorder, things like that. And, it makes it so that it's a little less likely that they're going to show. So there were times where they were just having bad days, didn't feel like showing, so we just had to move on without them. It's like, okay, that's fine, it happens. But specifically, one of them basically just straight up left the game because we hit the point where just things were getting so inconsistent with the voice that we decided, ultimately we got together and we decided we're going to move to play by post. And he was there with us at first, and, for the first few weeks, first 3 or 4 weeks doing that. And then he stopped. He just stopped. Just dropped the game completely. And he mentioned to us about a month after the fact, he came back and was talking to us, and one of us had asked him, it wasn't me, it was one of the other guys that asked him, hey, I'm going to call him by his character's name, hey, Randy, why'd you leave? And he said, honestly, I can't keep my focus. I can't keep my attention on the game with doing it with text. It moves too slow for me. I can't stay focused on it. I need to do it live. If we're not doing it live, I can't play it because I can't stay focused. So it was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But he left. And then shortly after him, one of the other characters left. And then it was down to 3. It was just myself, and, the 2 other players and the GM. There's only 3 characters left. And then, of course, from the previous video, we all know what happened with that. So, it's been a bittersweet thing, because there's been a lot of, it's been really good having the chance to keep playing again. But there's been a lot of times where we've had issues crop up where people wouldn't show, and that includes myself. There were days where I was just too tired to play, or days where it's like, what, I'm working and I can't make it. There were Saturdays that I had to work, where it's like, hey, Saturdays are usually slow enough that I can get in a post or 2 in the day, but there were some days where it's like, it's too busy. I can't do it. I gotta prep orders for Monday, and I just don't have the time. By the time I get home, the game is basically already ended. The session's already done. So, there's a lot of issues like that went on that made the gaming side of it a bit bittersweet. On the upside of, gaming, I got my hands on some new games this year. Through Humble Bundle, I was able to get both Cyberpunk 2020, the intro pack to Cyberpunk Red, and a lot of the Splat books for both Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk 2020, which is awesome. I've wanted to get my hands on those games for years, and it's been difficult to find them in hardcovers or hard copies because, just the game stores near me either aren't carrying them, or if I find them online, they've been prohibitively expensive. I'm like, I don't want to spend, $100, $150 on a fucking game book. And that could just be me having bad luck. I don't know for sure if, maybe there's some place I could have bought it for a reasonable price, but I had absolute terrible luck finding it until Humble Bundle, so I got all those on PDF. And then the same with Dark Heresy. I've got the entire collection of, through Humble Bundle, the entire collection of Dark Heresy first edition books and the second edition books on PDF, which is awesome. It's especially awesome with Dark Heresy, because that's like Warhammer RPGs are something I've wanted to try for like years and years and years. Never really had the opportunity because a lot of them are out of print. So it was cool to get my hands on those. But one of the other bitter things, less bitter than main gaming issues, is just it's been difficult finding people who are willing to give the game a shot. And Dark Heresy in particular has been kind of disappointing in that regard because, I've wanted to play the game for a long time. I've wanted to learn it for quite a while. I've been reading up on it here and there, and I need to knuckle down and really dig into the core book and just read it and start to learn it and understand it, because that is a game that I really want to run. I've been reading, listening on Audible to a lot of the 40K audiobooks, most especially the Inquisitor audiobooks for Eisenhorn and Ravener by Dan Abnett. Those books I loved them. I've been devouring them, like with my free credits. Like I have been just using the free credits every month. Like the first 40K book I listened to was Cadia Stands, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna check and see if they've got Ravener books or the Eisenhorn books, and they did. They had all 4 of them. It's like, okay, every month after Cadia Stands, like, all right, start with the first Eisenhorn book, then the second, the third, then the fourth. I'm like, okay, where do we go from here? Oh, Dan Abnett wrote books about Ravener too, Gideon Ravener, Eisenhorn's former interrogator. Let's get the Ravener books too. Went through all 3 of those. Now it's the end of the month again. I'm sure I've got another free credit. I got to look for another book to read. I'm probably going to stick with Dan Abnett because I've been really enjoying his stuff. But with Dark Heresy, where that's concerned, it's been disappointing because, listening to all those audiobooks has had me chomping at the bit to play an Inquisition-themed 40K game. And that's exactly what Dark Heresy is. And so it's been a bit disappointing that it just, I can't really seem to grab people's interests with it. And that could be on me, just because I'm not experienced with the game yet. I need to read up on it more, study up on it more, learn more about it, figure it out, so that I can better sell people on it. But, So that's a more minor disappointment. But back to the bigger reasons why we're saying fuck you to 2020. Well, there's the absolute shitstorm that happened at my work that led to me doing these 50 to 60 hour a week weeks, and that was just all the related stuff around COVID, just COVID in general. Fuck that, fuck that bullshit. Fuck that stupid virus. Fuck the stupid responses to it. Fuck the Chinese Communist Party and the way they fucking have lied about it. The way they lied about it at the start and led to this problem. Fuck the whole thing. You know? And I know YouTube's not going to like me saying that. I don't care. I don't care. This was fucking China's fault. Not the Chinese people, but the Chinese government. This was absolutely their fault that the world is in this situation right now. They knew what was happening. They knew what was happening since October of last year. They didn't fucking say a word about it. Because they didn't want investors to get scared and pull out of their economy. That's the simple truth of it. They knew that if they opened up to the world in the middle of the trade war that was going on with the U.S. and said, oh, we got this pandemic going on, we've never seen it before, we don't really know exactly what's happening with it, but yeah, it's happening, you know, prepare, that investors would get skittish and they'd pull out of their economy and they would have fallen into a Great Depression. So in that small regard, I can sort of understand why they wouldn't go that route right away. But nevertheless, the fact is they lied to the world. They didn't just keep the information from the world. They actively lied when it came out. They actively lied about the human transmissibility of the coronavirus when it first came out. And all sorts of other things too. I mean, we got a whole year's worth of information about this stuff. And it's bullshit. It is just the domino effect it's had on the lives of billions of people across the world is absolutely abhorrent. It's disgusting. And it's led to the stupid responses that we have seen globally that have completely ruined people's lives. It's also, which is why I say that I look at how hard I've had to work over these past few months, and I'm just like, you know what? I can live with the stress. I don't care. I would much rather have my job than not right now. I would much rather have the work than not right now. Because it's hard out there right now for people. It is really fucking hard for people. And I mean, my heart goes out to the people who are struggling right now. It absolutely does. Absolutely does. Because God knows, we all know that, you know, the people who are supposed to represent us, they're not fucking doing shit to help. Oh yeah, $600 stimulus check for people who have just spent the last year losing their jobs, seeing their businesses fail, or in some cases, depending on where they lived, seeing them burnt to ashes. So yeah, you know, fuck the coronavirus, fuck the lockdowns and everything that came with it, fuck all that stuff. And then on a much smaller scale, I was actually planning originally to leave that for the end, but, you know, fuck it, we're talking about it now. On the smaller scale, relating to that, the fucking bullshit that impacted my work, and the whole reason why everything went screwy for me in spring and summer to begin with. You know, the response that my company had to the virus was just weird and dumb, I think. And I personally suspect that they did it to put pressure on the unions. And the reason I think that is because of what they did. And that is they furloughed, specifically, the union stores. And only the union stores. The interesting thing with my company is that not all of our stores, despite the fact that, you know, we sell paint and all that stuff, not all of our stores are represented by different paint unions. Only a small handful of them are. In my county, only one store is. In LA County, I think it's 6 stores. So our North County store was closed for like 3 months, 4 months. those 6 LA County stores were closed for that same amount of time. And then eventually they decided, I think it was 3 months they were closed, and then they brought just the managers back in. Which in the case of the North County store is a 63-year-old man. I mean, he's a workhorse. When the work needs to be done, he will do it. He will get it knocked out. But when you're 63 years old and you're lifting around heavy buckets of paint, lifting them onto the conveyor, getting them tinted, putting them in the tint shaker, pulling them out again and setting them on the floor, staging them so that they can be delivered and all this, that repetitive motion and that heavy lifting, that takes a toll on your body. And it took a toll on him. Recently he went out for a couple weeks, because his back got hurt. And I think it's 100% because of all the work he had to do by himself for the couple months that he was solo. So that was a stupid reaction. And it impacted us negatively because it meant that the North County driver, who hubs out of my store, because North County doesn't get that many deliveries, he basically worked between my store and their store. So we basically lost a driver. That same week that the furlough happened, our primary driver went out on medical because he's got recurring medical issues. One of those issues took him out for a few days. He went into the urgent care. They moved him from the urgent care to the ER because after doing some testing, they found that because he's got a condition that causes him some pain in his leg joints. Well, that pain moved up into his inner thigh, and it was persistent. It would not go away, which normally didn't happen. So they did a couple of tests, and it's like third day at the hospital. They found he had a blood infection on top of the flare-up of his condition. So he was out. He was going to be out for at least a couple of weeks. They monitored him. The original condition flared back up, and so he was bedridden for about 3 weeks. Overweight, bedridden, with a blood infection, and this attack on his joints. So he ended up having to do what was originally going to be out for 3 weeks, out for the month. Well, that suddenly became 3 months of physical therapy, and he didn't get back until last month, until the beginning of the beginning of last month, the 1st of November, he came back. So he had been out from April, I believe, the end of April, beginning of May, all the way to November. So that's 2 down. 3 left in the store. Myself, the manager, the part-timer we had working with us. He was now working full-time hours until he started playing soccer in the mornings and couldn't work full-time hours. So that hurt too. And so while all that's going on, we had the issues with the part-timer. And I know I've touched on this in one of my previous vlogs too, but there were certain parts of it that I omitted, and I'm going to give just the full story here now, because this really encapsulates the way 2020 has been kicking me in the teeth, because we've all been kicked in the teeth by this year. Let's be honest, we have all been kicked in the teeth by this year, but the specific way that 2020 did it to me was with stuff like this. So dude's doing his soccer coaching in the mornings, so he's not available to come in until 12. Okay, we're making it work. It's difficult. It's tiring. Exhausting, really, but we're still making it work. So he tells us in April, oh, hey, I've got this trip I'm going to need to take. We need to go to Detroit for about a week to meet with a friend out there for a business opportunity. Thing is, I don't know when I'm going to have to leave, because this dude is one of those rich kids who's very much thinking that, the world's time is my time. The world functions on my time. If I say that I need somebody to do something, well, I just expect that they're going to drop everything they're doing and take care of it. So I told him, and the manager told him, like, okay, that's fine, we get that. Please do your absolute best to get him to tell you as soon as possible. Well, as soon as possible ended up being 3 days. So 3 days in advance, he tells us, hey, next Monday I am going to be flying out to Detroit for a week. I'll be back, in a week. And then we were down to 2. It's like, okay, the two of us for 1 week at, the start of the summer business season, that's going to be hard, but we can do it. We'll call the sales reps, we'll call the other San Diego store, and we will get support. And you know what? We were making it happen. It was difficult, but we got through it. And then next Monday, then that Saturday rolled around, and the part-timer texts to us both, hey guys, I got a bit of an issue. I'm not going to be able to come back to work straight away. My girlfriend's having issues with her pregnancy. And my boss and I are both like, oh shit. Well fuck yeah, dude. Like, by all means, take some time off, take care of that. Just keep in contact with us because we're going to need to work out with our higher ups what needs to be done to make sure that, you can get a little bit of pay and that you don't end up losing the job, that doesn't end up counting as job abandonment. So we work out details, we're getting it worked on, and in the first week he's keeping decent contact with us, and then the second week is silence, total silence. I'm texting him, my manager's texting him, and we're hearing nothing back. We try calling him, phone never gets answered. And it went on well into the third week too, and we're like, we're positive at this point. It's like, he's screening our calls, he's ignoring us. Something is up. Something is not right here. Something about what he told us isn't true. He's lying about something. So we're working out with our manager trying to figure these things out, or with our regional manager trying to figure these things out, because there's certain protocols that we have to do for it to be counted as job abandonment, because he's not contacting us back, and it's becoming very obvious that he's not coming back, which I suspected might be an issue to begin with. And I told him as much before he left. I said, hey dude, and then my manager told him the same thing. He's like, like, we understand, like, you're not working here because this is what you want to do with your life. You're working here, as like a temporary thing to get some extra money while you try to set yourself up with what you really want to do, and that is coach and play soccer. So if you end up getting some kind of an opportunity that helps you do that better, or you end up getting an opportunity that lets you just do that, don't hide it from us. Let us know. Tell us in advance so that we can start getting things set up to get somebody in here to fill your position when you leave. And we both told him, like, yeah, we're cool with that. Just keep us in the loop. So, care to guess, based off that, what information we ended up getting? If you guessed that we got information saying that he had gone to Detroit to play soccer for their team, you would be correct. And in fact, it came out because of a tweet. Because as it happens, one of the company employees, company members of management in the company that works out in the Detroit area happened to be a soccer fan. And because our regional manager was kind of reaching out to people for information on, the specifics of like, hey, what do we got to do for filing the job abandonment issue if just we're literally never able to get in contact with the guy, but he has set himself up to be on a leave, an actual proper leave of absence for this. So one of the guys that answered was in this email group, happened to be in Detroit, or in the Detroit area, and he got the name of the employee. The name of the employee was included in the email. It was part of the whole packet of information. Well, he happened to notice on Twitter that the Detroit team had mentioned they had a new goalie. A new goalie with the exact same name as this employee. Well, isn't that weird? So he screenshots the tweet and he sends it to us and our regional manager saying, hey, didn't you guys work with a guy by this same name? And then a couple hours later, he sends another email saying, I think I found what happened to your guy. Because it's a response to that tweet from the San Diego soccer team saying, oh, he's a great player. Make sure you take good care of him. The very same team that he played for and coached for. So all that stuff about his girl's pregnancy issues, all of that, about that being why he couldn't come back. A bald-faced lie to our faces when we had already told him to his face multiple times, if you get a new opportunity, it's totally cool. We support that. Just tell us first so that we can start working on getting someone to replace you. Instead, he kept it to himself and fucking lied to our faces and screwed us for a solid 4 months, forcing my boss and myself to work what is supposed to be a 6-man store with just the 2 of us. That's the way 2020's been kicking me in the teeth. That's the kind of shit 2020's been doing. The coronavirus and all that stuff, it's definitely had an impact. But it's more been stupid people around me doing stupid things that make the situation worse. That's what 2020's been doing. And so, friends and gamers, join me in sending off this new year, not with a fond farewell, because let's face it, none of us are fond of this stupid fucking year. Let's send this year off with what it deserves. Fuck you, asshole! Don't come back! Piss off, 2020. Fucking done with you. My name's GM Dave. I am your man behind the screen. If you liked the video, leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. You won't see this kind of thing very often. This is very much out of the norm for what I do. But if you liked it, like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Hit the bell notification or bell icon for notifications if you're on YouTube. Comment below. Rail against 2020. Rail against the bullshit. Just fuck it. Go down there and have fun with it. Use it to vent. Get it out there. Just be done with it. It's the end of the year. We don't have to deal with 2020. We're going to have to deal with 2021 now. Real soon. We're going to have to deal with 2021. And I got a feeling that's going to suck too. But you know what? At least 2020 is over and done with. And tonight, go home, chill, drink, for every wage, and try to forget this shitty year for a little while. So, friends and gamers of all stripes, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, open up the description box, follow me on social media, read Phoenix Rising, check out Immortal Blood. Like I said, once the actual Webtoon original starts officially being posted, I'm going to post links for Gull as well. Check those out, and yeah, fuck you 2020. We're not gonna miss ya. Have a good one.